Hey guys, welcome to a long video. This is my first long video in like 3 months. So I had a bunch of topics I wanted to cover that were either too long or too short to be made into a YouTube short, and I'm just gonna cover them in this video and just quickly run through some of them. Let's begin by talking about something I actually want to talk about: the next Batman villains. The most likely candidate for the next Batman villain is probably Penguin. Penguin is even getting his own mini show on HBO Max, which I'm excited about. If you had told me a couple of years ago Penguin of all people was getting his own TV show, I wouldn't have believed you. The Penguin from this universe is really well acted, and I can see him playing a supporting role in the next Batman movie. The Joker is the other villain we were already introduced to in the Batman series, but this might be a hot take. I don't want another Joker portrayal just yet. The Joker is the best Batman villain ever, but I think he's already gotten 3 great portrayals and 1 shit one, so I don't think we need another one just yet. The Batman villain I want the most is Mr. Freeze. Freeze has already gotten one depiction in live action as a campy villain who can't stop making puns for some reason, but personally, I really want a portrayal of Mr. Freeze that is absolutely terrifying. Another possibility is Hush. Hush is not as prolific as other Batman villains, but he does have one of the best comics ever, so this would still be cool. Another name that has been floated is Clayface, which would also be really interesting as long as they don't go with like a Sandman situation from Spider-Man 3. Plus, Clayface can change his appearance to look like anything he needs to, so that could lead to a lot more detective work for Bruce Wayne. The final one I want to mention is the Court of Owls, a collection of the richest people in Gotham with their own owl army, which would also work, especially after how Gotham was left at the end of the last movie. Honestly, I would take any of these villains, just make it noir and dark and I'm happy. Alright, next topic. The Shazam 2 failure is really annoying, but I feel like people saw it coming. I don't know anyone who was surprised Shazam 2 didn't work out. I mean, were you? The first Shazam movie worked since it was cute and not really complicated, but this one ended up having the same issues as the old movies. The CGI fight scenes are trash, characters aren't hitting, and the story is just meh. But to be fair, DC has really good fight choreography. That is one thing they do really well. DC now has the same problem as Marvel. They seem to have no direction on where to go with the franchise, but hey, you never know, they might make a 180. They just need someone who has a really good vision. But for now, Shazam 2 was the lowest earning DC exclusive ever, which is saying a lot. DC also needs to work with other networks, not just CW. Like, Warner Bros has so much good material to work with. I would even say they have better material to work with than Marvel, now that the main Marvel roster has retired. So why is every DC show a CW show? Like, at this point, just give other networks a chance. Imagine if they could hire the greatest TV director probably ever, Vince Gilligan, to make a show about some character like John Constantine or something. Like, I mean, Vince Gilligan could probably make Plastic Man look cool. HBO also got a few DC properties, and I watched all of them because they were fire. Doom Patrol especially is hype. The Daredevil show is gonna be fire, hopefully. This show has been hyped for years, and now we got news of some actor changes. Specifically, Vanessa has a new actor now, and a few other minor details have changed, but no major news has been announced concerning this series. The cast has also said that this TV show is gonna be really different from the old one, which is really vague and it doesn't really tell us anything. I hope that means the show is gonna try to take a new perspective to the story, not just make it more lighthearted. The DCEU Justice League cast was done dirty. The main cast for Justice League really got the worst treatment from DC. While the main roster for Marvel got to retire their characters and just leave, DC superheroes were either left with no choice or brought it upon themselves. Ben Affleck quit being Batman because he knew it wasn't really worth the money, and people hated his version of the character way too much, and for good reason. Even if it wasn't his fault, the character was terribly written. Henry Cavill was let go because he was way too good for the DC universe. The worst part is he really still wanted to play that character, and he is still currently the best actor for that role. Gal Gadot didn't really get anything done wrong to her, but she is a mouthpiece for Israel, so I don't know how I feel about that. Aquaman 2 is still happening apparently, but after the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp fiasco, there's gonna be a lot of criticisms for that movie as well. But there are rumors Emilia Clarke may replace Amber Heard, which is probably not true, but that would be fun to see. Cyborg was also let go because why not at this point, I guess. Where is Marvel heading? So it's no secret that the MCU has been declining since Endgame, and that's fine for a cinematic universe, but the thing is, they just need direction again. After the end of Endgame, we don't really know which way the MCU is heading, but with how far we've already gotten into Phase 5, we should already have an idea of who the next roster of Marvel heroes are gonna be. Who are gonna be the next Avengers is the real question. I mean, a lot of the more famous Marvel characters have already kind of faded away, so they need to establish a really good like new roster for Marvel, but there really isn't one. So let's talk about some of the characters who may end up becoming the next Avengers and the likeliness of them actually getting the job. Wong and Shang-Chi. Now, Wong is probably going to be at least assisting the new Avengers, whoever they are, but I doubt he's going to be like a main hero or anything. Now, Shang-Chi is probably the most promising as a new Avenger. I mean, he's really interesting, he has the connection with Wong, and his fighting style is just really fun to watch. Falcon's Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's very likely the leader of the new Avengers is probably going to be Falcon. Like, I very much doubt anybody's favorite character was ever the Falcon, you know what I mean? But he is still a veteran, so he's probably going to get the job. And Bucky, honestly, I want more Bucky Bucky content. I think Bucky is a really interesting character as well. And you never know. I'm pretty sure Bucky's still considered like a terrorist in the Marvel universe. War Machine is probably also going to be there as a supporting role. That's kind of a no-brainer. There's also Ironheart, who made her MCU debut in the new Black Panther movie, which I think she's going to be in the Avengers as well. There's also Kate Bishop, who's probably going to succeed Hawkeye. Personally, I didn't watch Hawkeye, like the TV show, so I have no clue how that's all going to go. Also, Thor coming back wouldn't really be surprising as well. Finally, we have the most promising candidate, who, to be fair, nobody remembers Peter Parker's Spider-Man anymore, but I'm sure they'll find a way to go around that to make him an Avenger again. The final thing I want to mention is Guardians 3, which ended up being like on par with Guardians 1 and 2. Now, James Gunn's favorite characters were always the Guardians characters, so they're probably gonna also come back at some point or something. Overall, we just need like a definitive roster of characters that we don't really have right now for the next Avengers. I think that would really help out Marvel. Harry Potter reboot. So if you don't know, the Harry Potter series is getting a reboot. Don't ask me why. Nobody knows why. It's just happening. And I wanted to go over some of the recent changes J.K. Rowling has added to the series that are probably going to be added to the new TV show. But hopefully they won't be. It's not even clear what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to take years for that TV show to even come out, but I still just wanted to talk about it because this is ridiculous. The fact that it's even being made is ridiculous. But before we get into some of the changes, I think I need to point this out. The Harry Potter series doesn't need a reboot. Like, we all know it doesn't. But just to make it even more clear that we don't need it, it's not actually been that long since the last one came out. The graphics of the old movies are still really good. Like, the graphics of some of those old Harry Potter movies are better than the graphics on, like, the new Black Widow movie. Or it's not even new anymore, but still. So I guess the biggest change Just Kidding Rowling has made to the series, though, is, of course, Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Like, for her own sake, I really hope she doesn't add this into this new series. This is not gonna, I'm being really honest. This is not gonna end well. So for the people who don't know, there was like a shadowy figure in the original series called Grindelwald. He was kind of like the second bad guy after Voldemort, and he was just interesting. He was just like an interesting background character that we just knew existed, but we never really saw that much. And he was gay with a man called Grindelwald. Anthony Goldstein. Oh, this was hilarious. Okay, so so J.K. Rowling wanted to add more diversity to her series, right? That didn't exist, by the way. She wrote it all in the 90s and there was no diversity in the first place. It was all just white boys, and that's fine. No one really cares that much. But still, there needed to be diversity because this is Harry Potter. And she chose to add background characters who like have never really been there. They weren't main characters. One of them was Anthony Goldstein. Yes, he was Jewish. That's right. She made up a whole character just to say he's Jewish. Oh my god. All the changes she made from The Cursed Child. Another little reveal for any people who didn't know. The Cursed Child comes basically after the original Harry Potter series. I'm not even gonna get into the story because the story was way more complicated than it ever needed to be. And hopefully she never adds anything from that continuation. Oh yeah, Nagini used to be a human woman. So I'm not gonna really say a lot about the whole Nagini woman situation. I'll just point one thing out and let you come up with your own conclusions. At the weakest points of Voldemort's life, he used Nagini's milk to survive. And now we know she used to be a human woman. I'm not making this up, I'm serious. All of this was on Twitter, by the way. I hope everything she said on Twitter, she just says it's not canon because currently it's canon. So yeah, all of that may or may not be added to the new series.